Chapter 112, The Sword God of the Old Era. Lin Jufeng had no idea that even though he rarely left the imperial capital of the Yuha God dynasty and stayed in the cold palace most of the time, he still had a respectable reputation in the world. And the ones who praised him the most were the group of demons from that demon's den. The people of the world thought that the appearance of those demons back then signaled the end of the world and the start of a great massacre. But what happened in the end was contrary to everyone's expectations. The demons, they didn't dare to cause a commotion at all. Everything remained as serene as ever. With the appearance of the demons, the demonic sects rejoiced and their morale shot through the roof. They felt that this was the time for their demonic sects to prosper. But who knew that the demons that had just emerged were timider than the demonic sects? They didn't dare to confront the Yuha God dynasty at all. Each one of them chose to absorb the spiritual energy of the world in a low-key manner. They pretended as if they didn't exist in the world and kept their silence throughout. The world definitely changed when they emerged. But the world didn't seem to have changed that much on the surface. Everything remained the same. The Yuha God dynasty was still the same. The common people lived and worked in peace, and the major sects and aristocratic families consolidated their strength silently. They didn't dare to openly rebel against the imperial capital. After all, there was a terrifying old monster in that imperial capital. If they weren't confident that they could defeat that old monster, they would have to be obedient. The one being referred to by everyone as an old monster, Lin Jufeng, observed the world in the next few days. After he made a breakthrough into the supremacy realm, he released the demons and moved the underground palace away. He shattered the demon's den beneath the underground palace and saw the true land of extreme negative energy. Then, he suppressed the demonic energy in the land of extreme negative energy and acquired the light of the homes. He was in no hurry to explore the land of extreme negative energy. Lin Jufeng chose to observe the world for now. He wanted to see if this group of demons had killed wantonly after they emerged into the world. The realm after the Grotto Heaven realm was the Supremacy realm. Any expert in this realm would usually have an honorific name. But Lin Jufeng didn't give himself a so-called honorific name. He just wanted to continue his daily routine in peace and silence. He didn't need an honorific name. I made a breakthrough into the Supremacy realm and turned my Grotto Heaven into a domain. On that rainy night, my metamorphosis was completed. Lin Jufeng looked up at the sky. The lights in his eyes were fierce. Behind him, a vast world could be vaguely seen. The world itself was a divine-grade Grotto Heaven. It was Lin Jufeng's Grotto Heaven that he had already turned into a domain. Inside this domain, Lin Jufeng's combat strength was doubled. Under its limitless expansion similar to a universe, if his domain wasn't broken nor retracted, he would eventually become strong enough for him to be considered invincible. Lin Jufeng was currently observing the world. He could see everything, from the changes in the auras coming from every cultivator as they made their breakthroughs into their next realms, the fluctuations in the tide of spiritual energy as it floated in the air, and the stench of blood left in the countless battlefields of the world. If the demons dared to act recklessly, Lin Jufeng would punish them from thousands of miles away. Fortunately, the demons never made a move. Of course, the world truly wasn't peaceful with the emergence of those from the previous era. It was a good thing that the 3,000 or so powerful demons that emerged just recently had become a deterrent to these people. The powerful demons kept their silence and quietly recovered their strength. Compared to the clowns that had just broken free from their seals and were now acting as if they owned the world, those that were truly powerful kept their silence and cultivated in peace. After observing for a few days, Lin Jufeng soon stopped his observation. He believed that the demons would listen to him. He predicted that only when these demons had recovered their peak strength would they come to the imperial capital to defeat him. Only then would they dare to bring a catastrophe to the world. As a result, Lin Jufeng's worry was alleviated. He could finally go and explore the true land of extreme negative energy and peace. It has been 50 or so years since Lin Jufeng arrived in the Cold Palace. It has also been 50 years since he became a neighbor of the land of extreme negative energy. From the beginning until now, he had unveiled layers of mysterious veils over the land of extreme negative energy. From Imperial Consort Jia to the Chasing Corpse sect, from the Chasing Corpse sect to the Demon Lord 1,500 years ago, then from the Demon Lord to the Demon's Den beneath the underground palace. Covered by layers of mysterious veils, the land of extreme negative energy appeared mystical and full of pleasant surprises. Today, Lin Jufeng arrived at the land of extreme negative energy early in the morning. Deep underground, it was a place that was truly impossible for ordinary people to arrive into. No one knew that there was a land of extreme negative energy here. The cave system of the demon's den was winding and confusing, to say the least. The land of extreme negative energy was situated even deeper than the demon's den. It was like a hellish world, yet Lin Jufeng came down alone without the white cat. The white cat had been trying to make a breakthrough into the grotto heaven realm recently. With the resources that Lin Jufeng gave to her, even though she wasn't talented enough, she still advanced rather quickly. Entering the land of extreme negative energy, what greeted his eyes was not a battlefield, but a graveyard. There were tombs connected to each other, and they were all made from the soil in the surroundings. A small mound of soil with a tombstone. Some of the tombstones were made of wooden planks. Most of them had already rotted away. Lin Jufeng saw a few broken weapons inserted into the soil of the land of extreme negative energy. Broken swords, broken sabers, broken halberds, and even broken furnaces. These were once powerful treasures that a few cultivators had nurtured throughout their entire lives. But now, they had become nothing but scrap metal. They were all corroded by the land of extreme negative energy. Lin Jufeng picked up a broken longsword that was at the edge of a small grave. With a little strength, he pulled it out. Then, the longsword disappeared with the wind. All that was left in Lin Jufeng's hand was dust. Time has rendered everything useless. Lin Jufeng lamented. He couldn't help but look at the stone tablet in front of the tomb. There were no other words on it, only the name of the tomb owner was carved on it. Tomb of the Millennium Sword God of the Old Era. Lin Jufeng muttered out the words. He should be one from the batch of powerhouses that Demon King Pingtian mentioned. One of those who sacrificed their lives fighting for the right to occupy the land of extreme negative energy, Lin Jufeng said softly. He prepared to leave and look at the other tombs. But a line of words suddenly appeared before his eyes. Do you want to sign in before the grave of the Millennium Sword God of the Old Era? Lin Jufeng was stunned. He looked at the tomb of the Millennium Sword God, then at the boundless cemetery in the land of extreme negative energy. He couldn't help but smile. It seemed that he had discovered another land of bountiful opportunities to sign in at. Sign in, Lin Jufeng agreed. Sign in successful. Received Millennium Sword God Sword Technique, Flying Sword Technique. An old man appeared in Lin Jufeng's mind. He held a wine pot in one hand and a sword in the other. Crossing through the endless years, he showed his sword techniques to Lin Jufeng. It was a tremendously powerful sword technique. Flying sword meant that it was a sword technique that didn't belong to the mortal realm. The sword technique of the Millennium Sword God surpassed even Lin Jufeng's current arsenal combined. Lin Jufeng became engrossed in the sword technique. It wasn't until the sword god was done executing a set of sword techniques and a sword light slashed over from thousands of years ago did Lin Jufeng open his eyes. Beaded sweat filled his forehead. He felt the pressure from just now. In front of the Millennium Sword God, the current Lin Jufeng was still not strong enough. But this fact didn't affect Lin Jufeng. Instead, it ignited his excitement. Is this how strong a powerhouse from the previous era is? This kind of swordsmanship is simply sublime. I can't ask for a more generous reward than this. I feel that I will have a chance of peering into a higher realm once I'm done learning this. Lin Jufeng was excited. He had already reached the summit of what was possible in this era. Even though the demons in the demon's den were all stronger than Lin Jufeng in terms of cultivation realm, their strength was far inferior to Lin Jufeng's. The current recovery rate of the world's spiritual energy could only support a cultivator at the peak of the grotto heaven realm. Lin Jufeng forcefully pushed past this limit himself because he could sign in every day. But compared to the true powerhouses of the previous era, he was not strong enough. The Millennium Sword God truly inspired Lin Jufeng and ignited his passion to become even stronger. After signing in, Lin Jufeng wanted to continue his exploration of the land of extreme negative energy. But a line of words appeared before his eyes. Sign in can be repeated here. Different tombs yield different rewards. Lin Jufeng immediately dispelled his desire to continue his exploration. He turned around and left. I shall slowly reap the rewards here first. This place is similar to that demon's den. It's enough for me to sign in for a long time, there's no need to explore everything here at once. Lin Jufeng told himself in his heart. Venturing here and discovering a different reward each day from different tombs was also a very interesting endeavor for Lin Jufeng. In any case, he had nothing to do at the moment, and he had no intention of going out in the meantime anyway. Thus, he decided to stay his hand for now and be patient. After coming out of the land of extreme negative energy, Lin Jufeng returned to the courtyard. He saw the white cat lying on the frost jade bed. He reached out and picked her up. Then, he infused his true qi into her body to help her through her bottleneck in her breakthrough. Meow. The white cat meowed and buried her little head in Lin Jufeng's arms. She seemed to enjoy Lin Jufeng's massages with his hands infused with his true qi. You're not going to explore that place anymore. The white cat opened her eyes and asked curiously. I don't have to do it so fast. I'm planning on exploring it day by day. After all, I have a lot of time in my hands, Lin Jufeng replied. The white cat thought about it and agreed. Lin Jufeng indeed had a lot of time. She enjoyed being alone with Lin Jufeng. She found it indescribably comfortable to be with him. Furthermore, no one came here to disturb them. I must definitely make a breakthrough into the grotto heaven realm. The white cat made up her mind. Her eyes that were filled with stars shone resplendently as ever as she raised her small claws in firm determination. Lin Jufeng smiled gently. Sure, I'll help you make a breakthrough into the grotto heaven realm. Meow tilde. The white cat called out warmly. She couldn't bear to leave Lin Jufeng anymore, especially after he said those words. In the white cat's entire life, there were only two people whom she regarded as important. The first was the demon lord. He was the one who picked her up and raised her up from a newborn cat into a grown one. After the demon lord died, the white cat whom he raised protected the underground palace for hundreds of years before she met Lin Jufeng. After that, she spent decades with Lin Jufeng. In the beginning, she disliked the latter and refused to let him hug or touch her. But now, whenever she saw Lin Jufeng, she had this urge to throw herself into his arms. She couldn't bear to leave Lin Jufeng's side anymore. She had grown to completely accept Lin Jufeng's existence in her life. This was how the white cat felt. Lin Jufeng also felt the same way. The person that Lin Jufeng cared about the most had already passed away. He had nothing to care about but the white cat. Hence, he wanted to help the white cat make a breakthrough into the grotto heaven realm. This way, she could live for a very long time. Then, she would be able to be with Lin Jufeng for a long time. She would be able to accompany Lin Jufeng on his journey to the true summit of cultivation. He wanted to bring the white cat with him as he crossed over this great mountain of the cultivation path. The summit of this mountain would definitely be cold. Without the white cat, Lin Jufeng was bound to be lonely on his journey. Lin Jufeng decided to help the white cat in its breakthrough into the grotto heaven realm. But the process lasted for 5 whole years. 5 years had passed since the demons left the imperial capital. The world had greatly changed since then as countless people from the previous era also slowly came to being after breaking their seals. In the past 5 years, Lin Jufeng had never left the cold palace even once. He spent his 70th birthday in the cold palace 2 years ago. It has been more than 50 years since Lin Jufeng entered the cold palace. As usual, he continued his daily routine of quietly signing in. Over the past 5 years, Lin Jufeng had already explored and signed into at least half of the tombs in the land of extreme negative energy. He received various things from signing in at different tombs. 80 to 90% of what he received were cultivation techniques. Most of them were the arts and techniques that the owner of the tomb cultivated throughout his entire life. Each one of them was extremely rare. They could not be found even if one dedicated their entire life to it, but in here, they all became a part of Lin Jufeng's arsenal. He accepted and learned everything. Not only did he learn sword skills, but he also learned all sorts of peerless techniques. As long as he obtained them from signing in, Lin Jufeng would study and cultivate them diligently. He always became well versed in them, and they seamlessly became a part of his strength. After 5 years, Lin Jufeng had become exponentially stronger. But no one knew about it, for he remained in the cold palace throughout the entire 5 years. As for the white cat, despite making a bold declaration 5 years ago that she would make a breakthrough into the grotto heaven realm, she was still in the human god realm 5 years after her declaration. The white cat was depressed. She could now feel and understand how great the gap was between herself and Lin Jufeng. A few decades ago, Lin Jufeng was a mere martial sage realm expert. Although she was still not a match for Lin Jufeng back then, at least, both of them were martial sages. However, Lin Jufeng had advanced at breakneck speed since then. His strength constantly improved and skyrocketed, yet she couldn't even enter the grotto heaven realm. The white cat was sad. Fortunately, she had never given up after all these years. All the effort that she expended so far was now about to bear fruit. If not for this, then the white cat would have long lost her determination to continue. Your talent is very poor compared to mine, but I'm an exception. Just compare yourself to Princess Yulin. 5 years ago, she also said that she wanted to make a breakthrough into the Grotto Heaven realm. She practiced with the sword diligently and she only managed to do what she said 5 years ago, last year. If you compare yourself to her and make a breakthrough this year, the gap between you two won't be that big. Lin Jufeng consoled. After drinking Lin Jufeng's chicken soup 1, the white cat mustered her confidence and continued her study on how to break her bottleneck and make a breakthrough into the next realm. Lin Jufeng hugged her and treated her as a hand warmer. He stood in the courtyard and looked at the pure white snow outside. It was winter once more. The cherry blossom tree had become bald long ago. Snow covered its branches, and even the world itself was covered in snow. The wind and snow today were exceptionally heavy. Countless snowstorms swept over, bringing with them cold and fierce winds that seemed to resemble mournful howls. Lin Jufeng took a deep breath and a large amount of spiritual energy was sucked into his mouth. The world's spiritual energy at this moment is at least 3 to 5 times better in quality and quantity than it was 5 years ago. Lin Jufeng relaxed his body and absorbed as much as he could. The spiritual energy from 5 years ago could only contain support cultivators at the peak of the Grotto Heaven realm. Lin Jufeng was very dissatisfied with its slow recovery rate. Thus, he released the demons from the Cold Palace's demon's den to bolster the recovery of the world's spiritual energy. And 5 years later, his theory seemed to be correct. Compared to 5 years ago, the recovery rate is 3 to 5 times as fast. With the passing of time, it's bound to become even faster and turbulent. In another 5 years, the rate would be 10 to 20 times faster than today's. Lin Jufeng estimated. At that time, it would really be a world where supremacies could be easily found and cultivators at the Grotto Heaven realm would become as common as cabbages in a wet market. The golden age of this era would probably begin in the next 5 to 10 years. Lin Jufeng was satisfied. Because he was the one that caused all of these. If the world continued its rate of recovery 5 years ago, then the golden age of the brand new era would have been delayed for 50 to 100 years. Lin Jufeng's actions back then had shortened the time by at least 10 times. A golden age was coming. I won't be affected that much with these changes, but the Yuha God dynasty and Emperor De are bound to be affected. Lin Jufeng recalled that Emperor De, who had come to beg for his help back then, had now transformed into a man similar to Emperor Yuan. Lin Jufeng couldn't help but smile. After 5 years, Emperor De had become another Emperor Yuan. He was cautious and careful as he maintained the stability of the Yuha God dynasty. He also spared no expense in recruiting and nurturing talents. It was also worth mentioning that he managed to recruit quite a number of experts, including a few demons to his side. But the unfortunate thing was, the demons didn't want to enter the imperial capital. As a result, Emperor De had to order them to protect the imperial capital in the 4 cardinal directions. But it was not only Emperor De that had achieved great things in the past 5 years, Princess Yulin had also stepped into the Grotto Heaven realm. In addition, her incredible swordsmanship placed a lot of pressure on the various aristocratic families and sects. Just like that, the Yuha God dynasty remained as stable as an old mountain. During this period of time, Lin Jufeng found that he didn't have to do anything nor lend any help. Emperor De was diligent. He formed great trade routes for exchanging resources with the various small countries, he recruited talents everywhere and amassed a great fortune for the dynasty's rainy day fund. Moreover, his own reforms also helped to further bolster the growth of the Yuha God dynasty. He didn't use Lin Jufeng's reputation nor beg Lin Jufeng for help. Instead, he relied on his own efforts to maintain the Yuha God dynasty. The entire world might be in turmoil, overall. But the Yuha God dynasty remained relatively stable. Emperor De could be considered to be the greatest contributor to this stability. How did Lin Jufeng know about these things? Of course, Dakin told him. More than 50 years have passed since then. Dakin had also changed from a young and inexperienced youngster to an old man. His cultivation remained at the peak of the martial sage realm, he had yet to make a breakthrough. But it was a realm high enough for him. Dakin, who happened to be 70 years old this year, still came to deliver food and wine every month without a break. Dakin was the one who told Lin Jufeng these things. Otherwise, how would Lin Jufeng, who never left the cold palace, know about all of these things regarding Emperor Da? It was another year of heavy snow. The appointed time every month arrived once more. Dakin carried the food and wine as he walked amidst the snowstorm. In the heavy snow, his plump body seemed to become even rounder. Your Royal Highness, Dakin is here to deliver food to you. Dakin walked to the door of the cold palace and shouted. With the white cat in his arms, Lin Jufeng walked to the door and opened it. Dakin didn't have to stuff the food into the cold palace from a small hole like before. Sometime in the past 5 years, Lin Jufeng had decided to directly open the door to drink and eat with Dakin. When Dakin saw Lin Jufeng, he called out respectfully. Greetings, Your Royal Highness. It has been more than 50 years, but Dakin still remained respectful to Lin Jufeng. The commander of the Imperial Guards who sent Dakin to deliver food to Lin Jufeng decades ago had long forgotten about Lin Jufeng himself, but Dakin was still doing what he did since that order was given to him back then. Lin Jufeng let Dakin in and brought out the food and wine in the courtyard that was covered in the heavy snow. Your Royal Highness is still the same as before. You're still handsome and young looking. Looking at Your Royal Highness's current appearance, you look exactly like you did more than 50 years ago, but I've changed. I've become different in every year that passed, and now I have become someone so fat with such a big stomach. Dakin poured a cup of wine for Lin Jufeng and lamented. The decades that passed turned the relationship between the two into that of good friends from a vassal to a lord. Lin Jufeng didn't have many friends, Dakin was the only one. As for the white cat, she was his closest family. Having a big stomach means that you have had no worries in life, isn't that a life that everyone wants? Lin Jufeng chuckled as he picked up his wine cup and drank the alcohol inside with Dakin. Your Royal Highness, I have never been an ambitious person. Since I was young, my dream was to remain energetic when I'm old, and I have already accomplished that small dream of mine, Dakin replied. His face looked serene and at peace. I'm not as capable as Your Royal Highness. Back then, during that chaotic incident at the top of the Forbidden City, the entire imperial court was helpless. I guarded the gates and was very anxious, but there was nothing I could do. At that time, Your Royal Highness appeared with a martial sage expert and killed the demon sect's ancestor with one stroke of your sword. Other than me, no one else in the world knew about it. I have never forgotten that scene despite the decades that passed. Dakin added. Lin Jufeng picked up a piece of chicken and passed it to the white cat. Then, he looked at Dakin. He said nothing. Dakin was a little more talkative than usual today. In the past, he would never talk about these things. He would only tell Lin Jufeng what happened in the Yuha God dynasty and what happened in the world recently. This was the first time that he spoke these heartfelt words to Lin Jufeng. Thus, Lin Jufeng chose to listen rather than speak. He raised a cup for Dakin once more. Dakin drank the wine and let out a long breath. Then, he explained, Your Royal Highness, there has been a huge change in the Yuha God dynasty recently. Emperor Da is wise and mighty, he has recruited many powerhouses and the Yuha God dynasty is becoming more and more prosperous by the day. A few days ago, Emperor Da gave an order. What order? Lin Jufeng asked. The order is to send experts from the imperial capital to become local officials of the various regions that the Yuha God dynasty occupies. They will guard every region and pass on the imperial courts will so that some sort of centralized authority will be formed to consolidate the stability of every region occupied by the dynasty. Dakin added. You were one of the chosen ones. Lin Jufeng guessed why Dakin was like this today. Dakin nodded and replied with a smile. I can't slack even if I want to. Emperor Da personally called out my name, and I'm also considered as an old minister from 4 dynasties. I should act as an example to the youngins, so I can't refuse the order. Not bad. No wonder the dishes today are more bountiful than usual. Lin Jufeng smiled. The food on the table was more than twice what it was last month. There was also an extra pot of wine. Your Royal Highness, I won't be able to return anytime soon. I won't be able to bring you any more food or wine. I will punish myself with this cup of wine, Dakin said apologetically. There's no need for that. Lin Jufeng stopped him and raised his own cup of wine to drink with him. Your Royal Highness, I can arrange for someone else to deliver food. Dakin proposed a solution. No need. But before he could continue, Lin Jufeng rejected his offer. Actually, I don't need to consume food or water since a long time ago. This is a habit that I've developed over the decades. If you deliver them to me, I will eat them. If someone else delivered them, they wouldn't have the same taste anymore, Lin Jufeng said. To be honest, I do not need to consume food or water anymore to survive. But I have a habit that I have developed over the decades that passed. The habit is that, if you're the one that delivered them to me, I will eat them. If it came from someone else, it wouldn't taste the same. Dakin nodded and didn't talk about it anymore. Where did the imperial court assign you to? Lin Jufeng asked curiously. Dakin was his friend, he should show some concern to his friend. My hometown, Jiangnan. Dakin revealed a joyous smile. This was also the reason why he didn't refuse the order. He wasn't born in the imperial capital. Before he turned 13, he lived in the Jiangnan area. It was only later that he followed his father into the imperial capital and started his career in the imperial capital for the next few decades. After living in the imperial capital for 50 to 60 years, logically speaking, the imperial capital should have been the place that he should miss the most. But the reality was different. Dakin had always longed for his hometown, Jiangnan. I've started my own family in the imperial capital, my livelihood also comes from the capital, and even my children are born in the imperial capital. But all these years, I know that my roots do not exist here. As the saying goes, a man does not turn away from the road, a tiger does not turn away from the mountains. After all these years, I have always been a visitor wherever I went aside from my hometown. After experiencing the trials and tribulations in the imperial capital, I've grown tired. I want to return to my hometown. My old mother is just 100 years old this year. My brothers and sisters at home brought her back to my hometown decades ago. I haven't been back much in the past few years, so it's time for me to go back and fulfill my filial duties to her. The only person I can't let go of is your Royal Highness. I've always felt that I still have a responsibility to fulfill. I've promised to deliver food to your Royal Highness for a lifetime, but now, I'm about to go back on my words. Dakin wryly smiled. Lin Jufeng shook his head and replied, actually, you know that it doesn't matter to me whether you deliver food or not. I've always treated you as a friend and I've always looked forward to my monthly conversations with you, so I can listen to you talking about all sorts of things. It's a habit that I've developed over the years. Dakin nodded. I know that your Royal Highness doesn't need me to deliver food for your survival. I also know that your Royal Highness is very powerful. There are only a handful of people in the entire imperial capital who knows your Royal Highness's true capabilities, and I am one of those that truly understands how strong you are. If your Royal Highness is here, then the Yuha God dynasty is here to stay. If not for your Royal Highness, the Yuha God dynasty would have already perished countless times in the decades that passed. The common people of this world must express their gratitude to your Royal Highness. Lin Jufeng waved his hand in dismissal. Let's drink. Express their gratitude. For what? As the emperor of the Yuha God dynasty, they naturally had the responsibility to protect the common people in their territories. Lin Jufeng helped out the previous emperors, that was all there was to it. Even now, Lin Jufeng didn't have to help that much because Emperor De was doing a great job. After eating and drinking to their heart's content, Dakin and Lin Jufeng chatted a lot. This was the first time that they truly had a heartfelt conversation with each other. But in the end, Dakin still left. After giving Lin Jufeng a deep bow, he disappeared with his back turned to the cold palace. Amidst the snowstorm, Dakin's plump back disappeared into the fierce wind and heavy snow. Lin Jufeng flicked his finger and a streak of sword energy shot out and entered Dakin's body. Just like the battle on the top of the Forbidden City back then, Lin Jufeng had once again bestowed upon Dakin a sword energy for his protection. I hope that this sword energy wouldn't have to be activated. Lin Jufeng softly mumbled. That sword energy back then didn't activate because Dakin never arrived in harm's way. Lin Jufeng hoped that the sword energy this time would dissipate naturally, similar to what happened back then. Thanks for listening. The story continues shortly. This was read to you by Erebus.